He's an award-winning author. He's also a multi-instrumentalist, a songwriter, and he voiceovers a show for BET. That's right. Jake Brown. Jake, it's great to have you on.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Congratulations on this, Jake. I've been a fan of your books. You've been writing for 25 years, 60 books, and this just came out in June, Songs of Nashville. I don't know how you keep up this pace, Jake. We were talking before we came in studio. I thought I was kind of busy, and I really feel like I'm slacking now after being around you.
Oh.
This book is amazing,
Thank
and
you.
I know it's also going to be available as an audio book, but I mean, you've got, interviews with Jelly Roll, Vince Gill, Clint Black, Jim Lauderdale. How did all this come together?
It came together when I got a flat tire in 2012, and I was at whatever the nearest sort of rundown, like a discount tire type place was, and they had the kind of beat up TV, and I was watching a music video on CMT.
Right.
And I grew up in the 80s, first generation MTV, so you saw band, artist, song, label. You never saw, maybe director, it never said songwriter.
No.
This is the first time that I made that connection as a music biographer. Oh my God, the songwriters in this town are important enough within country's general sort of fan base knowledge that they credit them. And that was unique enough of a germ to start sort of reaching out to songwriters and doing a little research to see there'd never been a book series that covered songwriters from Nashville. And then I went, Nashville songwriter. And then I saw there was, so the .com was bought and off we went. So jumping 10, 12 years later, this third volume is the most ambitious yet. It's 47 songwriters, 300 number ones, and it takes you from, as you mentioned, Jelly Roll, back to old school legends like Dallas Frazier and Bobby Braddock and Buddy Cannon and Sonny Throckmorton and Freddie Powers and Merle Haggard, and then takes you Sonny Curtis, and then you get all the way current, like we were talking before. The writers from Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs and Luke Bryan's father-son team are in the book, and there's just so many. Hillary Lindsay and Natalie Hemby and the Stars Born writers, Laurie McKenna. So I was just honored to be able to have this many songwriters talk to me over that time, where we could then give the most comprehensive in this book look, I think, yet at the Nashville songwriting community. It takes you inside the writer room, how the hits are made, how the business works, how these dreams lead people here.
And I want to bring this up also on this, Jake, to where I think you got such unique interviews in this book, and it's really a guideline for songwriters everywhere, because you are a songwriter. You have a 400-song catalog, and you have bands and artists that have done your songs, a multi-instrumentalist. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, I don't know about so many bands. It's more me as a one-man band with studios, and then we hire session. But no, nowhere. But to be clear, not of this caliber and not on country charts. These are lots of different projects. But what it did give me.
But you have had award-winning books, though, too.
Yes, but to your point, and thank you. I'm shyer than you. But I'm just honored to do the work. And in this book, one thing that it did allow me to do is they knew they were talking to a fellow musician, a fellow songwriter. And I moved here with the same dream. I moved here with 2 published books, a futon, a cat, my drum set, and my guitar in 2003 from New York.
And I had no car.
Yeah, I mean, this town has given me my life, and so this is a love letter to this town.
Well, and it's such a great book, and I know people are going to enjoy it as much as I do. It's just that I like the depth, and you and I know, too, the magic. It's still, because this Nashville is a songwriter town, and it's also a writer town. I got to bring this up, though. In your spare time, you're also involved with TV shows on Access TV,
Tubi,
on Reels, and on Tubi.
Yeah. The if you'd like me to
please, and then you narrate for BET.
That was within one special. I want to make clear that was in 2018 for the Death Row Chronicles, which BET produced, which was a rare privilege opportunity that came from my very first book being about Marion Suge Knight, the Death Row Records CEO. And it's still the only book. So occasionally I would get, and it just turned into a weird, trippy thing because I knew they were going to interview Suge. I just didn't know how they were going to get him. He was locked up in LA County with one of those orders where you can't talk to the press. His fiance or wife at the time and his lawyer were third-party conferencing him into the producer. So when they aired it, I would talk, and I thought I was talking kind of to explain his side. Then you'd hear him back to back with me. I got chills. And someone who I won't get into depth on, whose son was doing a little time away, in his cell block on a smuggled cell phone, texted her, and they were watching it in the prison. And she went, "Mom, I see Jake on TV." And that was one of the coolest moments I think I ever had.
You have a lot of cool moments.
They connect to the reader.
And I got to bring this up, though, too, Jake. You've also got your own show to where you're interviewing authors.
Yeah, About the Authors TV. Yeah, on Tubi.
I mean, what a great idea, though. But who better to do it than you? And you're bringing on all these popular authors and actually showcasing their work also.
Yeah, James Patterson, Frida McFadden's, all the way to brand new authors that are just having their first successes. We've had 6 seasons. Seasons 5 and 6 come out this summer. Tubi took a chance on it in 2022. And we're the only streaming show that episodically profiles authors. We want their dreams, how they first discovered storytelling, how they got into the book business, the highs and lows, same as in this book with the songwriters.
Well, you know, and that's the thing, too. I got to bring up for our viewers to where I love your back catalog, and I own a number of your books.
Thank you.
Including, you know, on Joe Satriani and everybody else that you've covered in the music industry. And you constantly have your next book coming out. But whenever I saw this one, it's like going, oh, we've got to talk with you about this. And I mean, I'm so glad that you're doing an audio book for this also that came out at the same time in June.
Comes out June 24th. I did not read it, which was one of the most exciting things, is who needs to hear me talk for 24 hours. But the great thing about this book, we had a wonderful publisher, Keith Woolman, took a chance on it at Diversion, which is distributed by Simon Schuster, so it has a great, both sides of the vision and the retail. My agent, Frank Wyman, played a big role in selling this, and I just want to shout him out because without agents, we don't eat. And wonderful publicist, Kat Atwood, who's been working her heart out, getting, opportunities like this to talk about it. But as she reminded me, the core focus and point of this book was my love letter to songwriters and Music Row. Because people, I think in a lot of other genres, it's kind of common. Michael Jackson wrote a lot of his hits, but he also was smart enough to cover like Man in the Mirror or, other songs that have made hit. Teddy Riley's book coming out in December. Remember the Times, we titled it, we wrote it for 10 years. We talk about him writing together for all those hits.
So incredible.
These guys and ladies have the dream of coming to this town to make music and share it with the world. They don't know who's going to sing it yet. Think about that. They don't know that they're going to get to sing it. And if they get to connect with the right publisher, with the right writers, with the right stars that love their sound, they can work for years. They can raise a family here. They can have a life of making music.
I just love it that you showcase, Jake, the backstories in this book. And I think it's going to be a bestseller. I think it's going to be award-winning, as your past books have been. But I want to make sure for our viewers that they know for your website and all the other great things that you're doing, with TV, with interviews and everything that you're hosting, where do they need to go for everything, Jake Brown?
Oh, gosh. The material I work on would be available to you at abouttheauthorstv.com or on Tubi, About the Authors, Instagram, all over those. We also have a specific website for the book, songsinNashville.com, where you can order it. You get an exclusive playlist that features a real sampling. It's 150 of the songs from Jelly Roll to Vince Gill to the Star Is Born soundtrack. Takes you everywhere. Those would be the main places to go connected to this project.
Besides that, I got to bring up, Jake, the book is available Amazon, all the other sites, also Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, wherever you buy books. Also check out for the audio book because that's going to be a big splash as well. But I suggest you get the hardbound book like this, and then maybe if you find Jake out and about or he's doing a book signing, maybe you get him to sign it also. Because I tell you what, you're going to want to use this book not only as great stories about songs and the people who do them, but also maybe as a guideline on writing your own songs. Jake Brown, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me on, man. I appreciate your support.
Songs of Nashville, get your own copy.